All right.
Yeah?
Yeah. All
Now?
right. We're good.
Good.
Cool. All right. So let's try this again. This is early in the vlog or early in the stream. Looks like you've got ace 7 of clubs in the hijack facing a button straddle, and it's limped around and button checks, I believe. There you
Yeah.
go. So,
So,
so yeah, just you want to talk about the table for a second? Just how it's been playing?
well, the under the gun player Ray, he doesn't seem like he's very aggressive so far. I don't have many reads on anybody because it had just started and I had never played any hands with any of these people except the two seat, who I play with like twice a week at least, if not more. We're buddies. We came and signed on the stream together, so I was, I was just gonna play pretty regularly against him. I didn't want to do anything fancy for the stream, uh, but it could have happened anyway. So when Ray calls 10 and I have a7 suited and in the position that I was in, if I was on the button, or the cutoff, I think I would have raised his hand. But I actually don't mind just calling because of the qualities of my hand. If I raise to like if I was gonna raise, I would raise to 50 here. And is that right? No, no, no. If I was gonna raise, I would raise to no, it would be
Yeah, I
50.
agree. That makes
I
sense.
Yeah, and I would be making it that size so that obviously to fold some equity, like just fold some hands, just get it closer to heads up.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure everybody's heard
Yeah,
about.
it's pretty standard.
But if I do that, then we're deep stacked, so I'm putting in money out of position to Maximus, who has already showed he's willing to play a lot of hands and play aggressively. And I'm gonna possibly be folding really shitty under the gun calls like 5-3 of clubs, 6-4 of clubs, 7-4 of clubs, sometimes things like that that I will have absolutely crushed when we're getting money in on a river that where we flushed out together. And I don't want to fold those hands necessarily.
Sure.
Well, 7-4 clubs obviously
Yeah,
can't
I
be in
get
there,
you.
but you know what I meant. Just those
Yeah.
quality hands. And a lot of these under the gun limps tend to be these suited hands that don't really care to put in a raise, and they also wouldn't necessarily call a big raise like that.
Yeah.
So I like keeping the pot small pre-flop with a hand like this, where I just want the SPR to be bigger, usually with bigger hands, like high card hands.
Yeah, I don't
Or
blame you.
SPR to be smaller with high card hands. Anyway,
Especially with like when you're facing a button straddle here, limping behind is fine just because you don't have to worry about the blind squeezing. You only have to worry about the button.
right, right.
So.
And also, 3-bet bluffing. This isn't necessarily a 3-bet bluff. I don't know what technically someone would call it. What would you call this if I raised here with a7 of just like a
It's hard to say when you just raise here because you kind of have to look at it like, okay, there's a limp, there's two limps, but the big blind completed, and there's under the gun limp. So you could just be doing it for straight value. If you think your opponents are way tighter than that, then it's more of a squeeze. But I mean, you're gonna play a pot in position. You're trying to knock the button out of the pot. You can kind of interpret it either way.
Yeah, I'm gonna get called by ace 10 here a lot, and ace 8 suited, ace 9 suited. So I'm fine with calling behind and keeping those reverse implied odd hands in my opponent's ranges.
Suited ace in position, you know, they're pretty standard. Okay, so let's see. Flop 7 deuce 3. All right, that's not bad. Top. Never really expect it with ace 7, but that's where we are.
Yeah, I actually love this flop for my hand.
Okay, checks to you. And what's the move here? I like the bet.
Well,
See what's the size.
well, so I'm definitely betting this flop because I can get calls from a lot of hands, like ace 4, ace 5, pocket 4s, 5s, and 6s are going to be calling me sometimes. Obviously, heart combinations are going to be calling me here. And then worse 7s are going to be calling me here. 4, 5. I don't know if I mentioned that. And then sometimes overcards with the heart are going to float here. So I have so many worse hands I can get value from, and very few better hands are even in my opponent's ranges.
I agree. However, I do think though when you're facing two checks, I personally would pick a bigger sizing just so that if the button does call out of line, you're not giving a heart draw better odds to call.
Mm-hmm.
That's just me, especially like when I'm in these like multi-way pots, especially when it's not heads up, I try to prefer bigger sizings just to I guess stand my ground against more than one person.
Sure. Yeah. Bigger
But like,
sizings. I think bigger sizings are very okay here. I don't disagree with that. I think that you could go either way with this specific hand and combo, like not having any hearts in your hand.
yeah,
I like to play turn like I said, I don't have a lot of reads on my opponents, but as far as I've experienced from the field, I'm just not facing too many bluffs on later streets.
okay,
So I just get to fold like really terrible cards easily. You know what I mean?
yeah, I get you.
If I feel like that's what my opponent is supposed to say he has, or if I feel like that's what he's saying he has, I usually actually trust them. I overfold a lot, and that's worked out really well for me so far. I actually picked the sizing to induce raises from heart combos, and play a big pot with my A7. Like I don't mind that at all. Uh, just because I know I can fold when I see a bad card come on the turn or river, no problem. So,
So
and
then,
that's what happened. I got raised by
right,
wasn't even
so
a hard
so this is
combo.
interesting, right? Max just goes up to 55, and it's got to be somewhat intimidating coming out of the button straddle check. I mean, his range is quite literally infinite. I mean, well,
Yeah,
not infinite, but capped to
he's
some degree.
playing like 80% of hands here because the other 20% he would have raised,
Right,
right?
right.
Um, and that 80% of hands has a lot of weaker sevens. It has a lot of heart combos. It has a lot of ace X combos like ace four, ace five. Um, a lot of bluffing combos. So I'm very comfortable facing this raise, especially knowing Maximus is in position. He likes. I already knew he liked to play a lot of hands. Like I could kind of tell. I don't know if he showed down or something, but I had already had like a vibe whenever he raised me. I was like,
Sure,
this guy will be putting in raises light, and that's all I needed to know.
sure. And the raise size really isn't that. It's kind of weird. It's kind of small.
Yeah, it's not very intimidating. I think his main purpose was to get called by fours, five, sixes, and 3x, and continue applying pressure and maybe get some bad calls. Maybe make me make some mistakes later with those other combos.
Let's see how this goes here. So, pretty clear cut call.
Probably also charging. He's probably charging heart draws too. I mean,
Sure.
obviously.
All right. So I'm sure that card doesn't make you feel all that great.
No, not my favorite turn card. But players, the player pool I'm facing, a very small frequency of their raises are going to be gut shots.
Right.
So knowing that 5-6 and ace five are in his range here, but at a very low frequency, I wasn't too terribly scared to check call and then just fold on a heart river if he continues barreling,
Sure.
because I know he still has those other combos, trying to charge heart draws, and 7x combos in his range.
Of course. So what are you thinking about here? You haven't checked yet.
I usually just posture up a little bit to make it seem like I have a decision between checking and betting uh, on this turn card.
Mm-hmm.
That's almost always what it is whenever I pause. I usually know what I want to do really quickly. I just make sure I use the time to double check, but I'm also just kind of balancing my acting time.
Sure.
Sometimes I'm I mean it's weird, but and I see the 5-10 stakes or the 10-25, and they'll just like fucking come out there guns blazing with their huge bets. And sometimes, and I'm like, all right, well, I guess that's how it is. I was just trying to be very cautious and careful and make sure I didn't give off many tells on
Sure.
accident. only on purpose. If I was trying to give off a tell, it was on purpose.
Just increased screen time, right?
Yeah, I just wanted to, wanted to give the fans what they wanted.
There we go. So bet 75 call, call 75. River's an 8. I don't really think that's going to change much in the dynamic of the hand.
Yeah, the 8 doesn't change the nuts, from the turn.
Right.
The guy, he definitely has like a lot of two pair combos now that just got like really aggressive on the flop.
Sure.
But I block the best one, and it's a non-heart river that didn't change the nuts. Like if I face a bet here, I can fold sometimes just depending on the sizing. But I was hoping not to, though. I definitely was hoping not to face a bet. That's for goddamn sure.
Of course. All right. I don't remember. Do you?
No, he checks this river. He figures that if I'm checking this river, that he needs to check this river.
So do you think that he checked here because the 8 came on the river and he was playing it more at like face value, or because he was thinking that, all right, this guy called 2 streets, he's got to have something made if he's not leading or didn't raise me on the turn as a bluff? Or
basically, I think that's where he was at. He said, my opponent has either given up on his hand or has a made hand. I don't have any value here from worse combos that are calling. Like it's just not going to happen. So I like his check back. I don't really like his bet on the turn. But considering what I could be betting, I just don't think his hand is strong enough to bet on the turn. But that's just me.
Sure. No, I agree.
Like I V-pipped. He doesn't know me, but if I V-pipped and I call the flop, like I don't know, man. It's a really interesting dynamic playing with complete strangers, for sure.
Cool. All righty. What's the next one we got? I think got 5 of them here. What was the next one? I think the next one was the Queen 9 hand. All right, can I still hear you? All right, I can still hear you. Cool. So
yeah.
All right, I'll talk about it when we get there. So let me full screen it. There we go. Okay, so let's see. Under the gun 9s, standard raise. All right, you want to tell me anything about Mikey? Mikey?
The most glaring thing that I should probably mention immediately is that Mikey does not like folding to 3 bets. Early in the stream, he had King Jack suited or King Jack offsuit. He was 3-bet by Shane, I think. Yeah, he was 3-bet by Shane, and he held on to King Jack suited, out of position, deep, and I think a lot of people would make that same choice, but it's stuff like that. He gets into a lot of trouble with hands like that. I watch it weekly, but he also folds really well, and that definitely helps a lot whenever you do make those loose calls to 3 bets.
Yeah, I was watching the stream and Shane had quite the roller coaster session, didn't he?
Yeah, and he was talking. I went and played him like 2 days later. We just ended up at the same table, and I got him started. And I was like, holy shit! I opened up a box because he went on for like 30 minutes, and it was cool. Like I was like, he has a really his thought process is pretty sophisticated, and so I was listening to everything he said, and he just got himself into some trouble, and he also got himself some nutted hands too. So good for him for getting all that. I mean, he busted, but I thought it was really cool that he got to have all that drama happen on stream. Like,
yeah,
I kind of just had to sit there and wait. Just waited on hands.
All right, so let's keep going here. Got kind of a loose call, in my opinion, from Joe.
Definitely loose call, but very standard from a player like Joe. Like when you want to stereotype a guy based on his age and his looks and demeanor, he's calling with Queen Jack there every time. Like especially quote unquote deep. He's 100 big blinds deep, but you know what I mean? Like, it's just something that they do, and they just there's a lot of players out there that haven't they haven't necessarily taken the time to find that information that you should be folding queen jack to an open like that. But
Sure.
yeah,
So to you in the small
or three
blind,
betting.
right? To you in the small blind with queen nine of clubs. So small blind is always a pretty tricky spot. I think queen nine, it's probably fine. I don't know if you've looked at this at all. Of
Yeah, I'd much rather have queen 10 than queen 9, like a million times over, because you just flop too many gut shots with these two gappers.
course.
But I was on stream. I knew already that like the folks at home were gonna be like, oh, there goes Nitty Carlos being a nit, and I just didn't want to fold right here to have when I had an opportunity to get in a big pot with my friend, um, and it worked out for me this time. But I guarantee you that queen 9 call is gonna hurt very often when a lot of money's going in the pot.
Sure.
Um, and I would three bet this normally, um, but Mikey's under the gun open isn't bullshit, and
Sure.
because I know he's coming here playing tight too, and his fold to three bet is like 0%, and so why would I put more money in the pot out of position than I need to? It's a hand that flops well, and I think I play post flop well enough to make this at least a break even call. Um, and I was just gonna see what happened on the flop. Like I said, I was just trying to get into a little bit of trouble on stream with my friend. So
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, I get you. Oh, what was I gonna say? I don't remember what I was. I'll remember it. But anyway, so all right, three ways out of position. Flop comes 8, 10, 3, one club. So, as far as what you're generally going to flop with your hand, it's pretty good.
Fucking awesome, bro. What?
Yeah, it's
Like I have a draw to the nuts. Like that's if you have queen 9, you just pray that your up and down or gut shot that you draw isn't gonna be like second nuts, because then
right,
it really sucks when money goes in the pot and you hit it.
right. So let's see. You check, of course. C bet coming. C bet 65. 65. There it is. I like the size. I think it's good. Into two people. Queen Jack folds.
What was the pot? Like $80?
80. About
So
that, yeah.
$80? Yeah, because big blind folded. Okay.
I think it's a pretty good size.
Yeah, definitely. And this is a flop that I have to continue on if I called the pre-flop.
Yeah.
I can't fold right now. It's terrible to fold this hand right now.
Yeah.
Because I know I have my gut shot equity and I have my backdoor club equity, and then sometimes I have my queen equity.
Right.
In this case, I did.
It also really helps to be playing deep here. If you were playing shorter, like 100 big blinds or fewer, I think that, aside from not calling pre-flop, that this spot gets a lot more complicated.
I agree. And I'm not calling, if we're just 100 big blinds deep, I'm not calling queen 9 suited. It's just not going to be a good play in the long run.
I think nines is a really good spot, a really good C bet in his position too, because he's going to block a lot of like 8, 9 of clubs, 10, 9 of club. Well, not of clubs, but he's going to block like 9, 10 of hearts, 8, 10 of hearts.
He blocks continuing hands that are beating him.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. So let's see.
Yeah.
You make
I don't mind. I don't mind his bet.
Yeah.
Into three players, I play my nines from his position a little bit more passively.
So that's a dream.
You have to do a lot of studying to turn that.
Yeah.
It takes really a lot of hard work and just raw talent to turn that card.
Yeah. Not to mention the flush draw on top of it, but so
I know that's the best card in the deck. Like like the wettest.
Right.
I have so many bluffs on this turn though when I check raise, which is what happens, but I don't want to spoil. Sorry.
Right. No. So check, continue for 125. What do you think about that? I don't know if I like that here.
I think Mike just doesn't. He probably doesn't want to play a river against me if he doesn't have to.
Sure.
um, and I think, and I don't know if it's just me dependent. It might just be, it might be anybody. Um, when I asked him about his bet because I didn't like it, and I told him like I probably would have checked there, but I don't mind your bet, bro. Like whatever. He
Well, of
said,
course you don't mind it. You've got the nuts.
yeah.
No, but no, I mean, open ended now, from the perspective of nines, I mean, at least you think you have outs if your opponent has a pair or two pair.
Yeah. I guess the reason I don't like his bet is because a lot of continuing hands from the flop actually end up beating him right now
Right.
because I have all the gut shots that either turn the nuts or that made a pair on the turn.
Right.
And that's really it. And the only thing he's getting value from here is uh ace x, king x, queen x of diamonds that don't already have a 10, or
Right.
sorry, that don't already have a pair. um so yeah, I mean, shit, like I don't know where he was really, like how thought out his bet was, but
How big was
I,
it? I
I
remember
certainly I 125.
125.
Pretty close.
Honestly, I think I could get behind an overbet here. I think that might be the more correct play if your plan is to bet because you're effectively turning nines into a bluff because you're blocking your hand and blocking the bottom end like 7-9. And also you're probably going to be able to push Jack 9 off of it as well. So I feel like if you are going to bet here, I might even pick like a size like 350. But I don't know. What are your
Yeah,
opinions on
and
that idea?
that'd be really really scary coming from Mikey because I never see him overbet ever. So yeah, just generally speaking, um, giving a bad price for flushes to get there is probably, if you're gonna bet with this hand.
If you're betting with this hand, it's pretty much a bluff at this point.
Yeah, he has zero diamonds. He blocks the nuts. Um, yeah, I agree. He can fold some 10x combos. He can fold some. He could fold some Jack X combos. Like I play turns kind of tight, um, so I could totally get behind that. I would have raised a lot of my stronger, like a lot of my two pair, a lot of my, if I had ace three, or I would never have king three, but if I had ace three here, I might have raised that too.
Right.
So
So that's something to consider.
it's really tricky, man. Yeah, like, but what I call out of the when I call out of the small blind and then I call again, like
Right.
that's a really bad turn for him for sure. That's
Right.
probably
So,
like one of the worst turns for him.
so this pretty much always has to be a raise, so you can't risk river going check check. 350. I like the size. I think it's good.
Yeah, I have to take the lead here
Of course.
because I definitely continue here. He has threes, eights, tens, jacks, queens, kings, aces, and then he has his diamond with overcards that are going to continue.
Yeah.
So I have to put in the raise because with our stack sizes, I think he'll put in a call. He's getting a pretty good price and he's in position. Nasty river for me.
Right.
So yeah, I like a raise for myself here. I don't know if I
Yeah.
maybe
The only thing that gets really weird is the SPR for the river. I think it's unfortunate that your stack wasn't a little bit deeper for the hand. Because it makes, if he calls here, then you're gonna be going, you have a half pot bet left behind, which,
yeah, if it's a brick river, like deuce of spades, or undercard of spades or hearts, uh he kind of, I think he wants to call if he's going to call with the nines here. um and with his combos that he thinks are ahead of my range that he's going to call with, he's probably going to have to put in the call on the river as well. I wish I was deeper, but I can't. I don't know if like I sized wrong or something like that. I just know that if I'm going to be bluffing this turn, that's going to be my size. So that's why I chose it.
Sure. No, I get you.
Yeah.
He tanks for a long time.
We had at least 15 friends at home watching, like confirmed friends at home watching all together. And I think he just didn't want to make a mistake because he blocked the nuts twice and he didn't block any diamond draws. I was like, man, if we were professionals, you have like a really good hand to call down with right there.
Yeah.
Or
So,
to just rip it in. But
ah,
I don't think he
yeah.
should ever rip it in
So
there
there it
just because of
finally
the
goes.
PR. Yeah. Yeah, you fast forwarded a little bit, or maybe this video is playing the whole time. He tanks for like 2 whole minutes.
Yeah, I was playing the video the whole time. But
I
yeah,
told him that just to be friendly at the end there, I said, if you fold, I'll show, you know,
sure.
like a small needle. Like, I know this makes you want to call more, but also just please fold your hand.
Sure, sure. Okay, so all right. What do we got here? You're on the button, looks like no straddle, some junky hands in the beginning here.
Yeah.
Fold, fold, fold. Hijack.
Is this Queen Jack
Ace.
of
No, this is Ace Jack of hearts, I believe. So let's see. Hijack, 700 and stack. Ace Jack goes to 30.
okay?
Fives from the small blind, and you have a mystery hand on the button. No, you have Ace Jack. It'll register in a second. There it is. So okay. So let's see.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, there was this hand. Let's go back a second here. Okay, so it went.
Oh, this fucking hand.
Yeah,
Yeah,
open
damn,
from
this sucked.
the hijack. A call from you with Ace Jack. Call from the small blind. Call from the big blind. So honestly, hijack versus button. What's your 3-bet frequency with Ace Jack suited in the button versus the hijack?
Facing an open from this particular player, I noticed that he had a limping range. So my three bet frequency with Ace Jack is 0%.
Really?
I like to see a flop against these players when they raise players that have limping ranges that put in an open, like a real open. I like to just see flops for cheap and then proceed with caution because they usually have nutted hands when they finally do open, since they're limping all of a lot of hands that they should be putting in the opening range,
Sure.
if they're not trying to be two face up. Um, yeah, he has ace queen, ace king, and then nines plus here. A lot of the time when he makes that open, when he also has a limping range, that's just my take on the. Wait, no, this is WP. Oh no, this guy. Um, no, this is different. I three bet this. I three bet this a little bit. Sorry, I thought somebody else opened. I'm starting to remember a little better now. No, when that guy got here with his headphones and stuff, and I heard him talk, like he said something, and I was like, okay, this guy, like, he's suited up. He at least thinks he's good. He might be good. He at least thinks he's good though. So he's gonna be opening maybe loosely from the hijack. So yeah, I would three bet this specific type of hand sometimes. But I like seeing flops with ace jack, um, just because when I put in the three bet, it's really likely that when I get called, it's by a stronger hand. He could keep like continue with smaller suited ace x's that I do have dominated, but I just don't see a lot of merit in putting in the raise personally.
No, I get that. And it's really odd to me that especially the players that really think they're good. I mean, you're playing a deep stack table, and he's got 670 in stack, and the rest of you have more than 1500, right? And so I think that makes three betting a lot more difficult because you three bet to 90, and if he four bets you, then your SPR is going to be less than one for the flop. And if he just calls, then even still, you're playing 100 big blinds deep, whatever. You're in position. That's cool. Um, I do think there is merit though to three betting so you can knock out the blinds, which in this hand, I don't know if it's, yeah, it could go either way. Do you think that Scott is going to be the type to call with fives in the small blind facing a button three bet?
Negative. Yeah, I don't think Scott quite uh, cares about what kind of odds he's getting to hit a set, and what he I don't know what he would even think of my range there, or if he would even consider my range. But I just don't think I'm folding like hands like fives too often. That being said, I mean, it's okay to have fives in there for $90. It's fine. But it's my hand kind of flops well, and I can respond to aggression kind of easily. It sucked folding on the turn, but I it really sucked folding on the turn, but I just didn't think he had enough bluffs to make the call.
I think you folded flop, if I recall this hand correctly, but let's go through it here.
No, WP folded flop. I called flop because he can be raising like ace X that's weaker than mine sometimes, and he'll just chill on the turn.
Right. So flop 5-6 ace. What a board. Fives go way out in front. You've got less than 1%.
Yeah, I'm drawing dead.
Pretty much. So let's see. Fives check, 6-7 checks. Ace jack continues. For how much? 85, looks like.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. I mean, I think that's fine.
Yeah, that's a great size, and he has a great hand to do it with. He doesn't. He even has backdoor equity with his clubs. He does block some of the worst hands that call him, but so what?
Right.
Worst hands that call him.
Right. So let's see. Yeah, this position really sucks for you because you've got two people behind. They've both checked. So you got to face two more people after you make your decision. And folding is really nitty. Raising doesn't seem right with two behind. And yeah, just what a really bad spot to be in.
Yeah, I was actually, I know that how these games, live stream or not, I know that they play kind of loose, and I'm not too worried about raises out of the blinds. Like it does end up happening.
Sure.
But I kind of know what I'm up against when it does happen. Wow, I just realized, oh, never mind. So yeah, I was really comfortable putting in a call here, and then just like, if it's a club turn and money goes in, then I'm happy to let my hand go. If
Sure.
it's like a really like a seven of, if it's a seven or a nine turn and money goes in, like I'll probably call one more street and fold river.
Right.
But yeah, man, it didn't feel so bad at the time. I knew that I could be way behind WP
Sure.
when he continues there. But it happened to be that we were tied, minus
Sure.
his backdoor equity.
Let's see. You put the chips in, and then Scott, of course, sitting with fives. This is easy. One of the easiest check raises in the book.
Yeah.
Let's see. What's the sizing here? $210. Ew. That's all I have to say.
Yeah.
Not
just
a fan.
a little less than 3x. I don't know. What do you think about that?
It's just not big enough. I mean, you guys, aside from WP only having about 6 in front, you guys are all playing, more than 200 big blinds deep. And, when you've got fives here, you're trying to stack ace king, ace queen, right? And I think more money just has to go in now.
Yeah,
Personally.
he's going to have a really awkward sizing on the river if he gets called on the turn.
Right.
So he either needs to put in a big enough raise to have like a decent, basically pot size bet or a little bit over, or just, I mean, it could be played a few different ways, I suppose. But he definitely wants to get value for his fives. If an old man like him raises this spot, I feel like WP. I like that he got away from his hand. I mean, I thought it was a little nitty, but good for him for doing it. I couldn't do it just yet. I had to see a turn. That probably would have been worse for me if I had seen a jack on the turn or something.
Right.
But I thought if I see a club turn and he continues barreling, like I can just fold. It's a
Right.
fold, and otherwise I might have already been beat in the first.
Although, wait, so another thing too that I would like to bring up though is that when small blind raises here, right? Is the club turn really going to be the scare card? How many just straight club draws are they going to be bluffing into three other people?
Probably no more than two like king high and queen high. But there's also 7-8 of clubs that might want to do that.
Sure. No, I mean, I'm not saying there aren't any. I'm just saying I
But not a
feel like
lot, not a lot compared to his value combos.
right.
And that's one reason like I thought the turn fold was very okay.
Sure.
It depends on the player. And
No,
that guy,
absolutely.
I was getting like, I don't want to be like rude to anybody, but I don't, if this is offensive, sorry. I got old man coffee vibes from him, and I knew that I was probably putting my money in bad with ace jack. I just didn't want to be exploited.
Sure.
And I didn't even know the guy. I saw a Rolex on his arm, and I could see him putting in a raise with some club combos. So
Sure.
yeah, I thought I could call there and then just see what happens on the turn.
Well, there it goes. Or no, let's see.
And kiss those goodbye.
I wonder if they got the graphic wrong here then.
They did.
Okay, that's what I was confused
They show
about.
me folding and WP continuing.
That's why I questioned you at the beginning of the hand because the graphic is just wrong. There it goes. Okay. King on the turn. 300. It's your stack, not WP's.
Right. And I've got about nine.
And that doesn't even look. Three. Is that? Oh, are those two blacks that are stuck together right there?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, 1/3 pot, super value heavy. Your SPR for river is going to be pretty rough.
Man, the graphic is weird right now. I didn't think it'd be $925 in the middle, but I guess it is.
Yeah.
Well, in that case, I mean, he has a turn shove that's really good.
This is counting the 300 you just put out there.
Oh, that's what it is. Okay.
Right. So what's the thought process here on the turn specifically? I don't even think that you're really thinking much about the king. It's more of just relating back to the flop, right?
Yeah, I mean, when I'm thinking here, I'm thinking about his Rolex and all of his 2-pair combos that are just smoking me right now. That he has, like the heart and diamond and even ace-5 of spades. Like he has all those combos right there, and he's absolutely raising them, and he's absolutely following through. He has all these sets. He has 6s and 5s. He doesn't have aces. And he has ace king and ace queen. So I'm just like counting all of that, and then I count I count all the bluffs he might have, like if he's and then I think like how many of these is he really like doing and following through? Like he's just not.
Right.
Like half of them, not half of them. Like PO Solver puts in a lot of raises with the hands I'm beating here. So I'm actually like really okay with just folding.
Sure.
Because he's not playing like PO Solver and I'm not playing like PO Solver. So
right.
Like, whatever.
And there it goes. No, good fold.
Cool.
Good fold.
Yeah, it sucked though. I was like, fuck, if this is the best hand, like I'm gonna hate my life later.
Well, you get to see I don't know if he told you after what he had, but now you get to see it.
He did. And what's his face who had ace jack off, he's like, of course, he was like, do you have a set of 5s or a set of 6s?
Sure.
And he like took a second. He's like, I had a set of fives. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. That feels good. I
Right.
trusted him. And then he goes on, he's like, yeah, he just doesn't have anything else there. And I was like, oh, okay, well, good for you for having that monster read, bro. Like, so I was gonna get into it with him, like have like a little talk, but I was like, all right, man, well, I guess
Yep.
you're right. And I just let it go, you know. It's
Yeah.
better left. It's better left untalked about
No,
at the
absolutely. I
table.
agree.
Gets kind of annoying.
Okay, so moving on. What's the next go? The Queen 10 hand. Here we go. Another button hand. Some junk in the beginning again. Kings from Ray. The hijack.
Oh, I get in a hand against kings?
You do. It's a
Oh,
pretty
okay.
small hand though.
Yeah,
It's a
probably.
surprisingly small hand.
Okay.
Let's see. You make the call with Queen 10 offsuit on the button.
Oh, yeah. This was definitely for the folks at home, bro. Like, I don't ever call this hand on the button.
Right. So we got a couple of blinds in again here. Queen 10. I mean, definitely a little loose, but you know, is what it is. 6-5, very loose. That should be a fold. Ace 8, that's fine. And then boy, what a flop. I think this could have been a really dynamic hand if Ray wasn't the one with kings.
For sure. Yeah. Nobody else has. Okay. Well, let's see. I kind of forgot about this hand. If someone had told me like you flatted with Queen 10 on the button on that stream, do you remember? I'd be like, no.
Right. So checks back around to Ray. Here's the thing. Checks to Ray with top set, who checks. He pretty much snap checks the flop. And then you check behind. I'm trying to not get that turn in there yet. But yeah. So it checked all the way around on the flop, which when it checks to you on the button, are you ever betting here with Queen 10?
I have a heart in my hand. And that might seem backwards, and maybe it is, but I just I like bluffing while blocking my opponent's continuing range and having that extra little bit of equity. And you know, betting at 10 here is definitely a bluff.
Sure.
Whether it's up and down or not. And yeah, I mean, I'm not going to be making the nuts on a 9 turn. I'm only making the nuts on an ace turn.
Sure.
So yeah, man, I don't do too much bluffing in multi-way pots.
That's perfectly fine, and I agree with that. There shouldn't be a lot of bluffing in multi-way pots.
Yeah, from if I make a bet with Queen 10 here, and I don't just bink a 9 or an ace, there's a lot of bad turns, and I'm behind, like
Sure.
like really often. A good turn or a bad turn when I get called. So it's like something I kind of might need to barrel down if I'm going to do that.
No, I agree.
And I don't have ace queen. I like everyone at the table probably has figured that I would have 3-bet ace queen by now. So I just decided to play really passively, realize my equity since I do have a lot of good turns for myself.
So here we go. Turn. That turn's pretty good. You know.
Yeah, not bad.
Make the straight. Okay. It's hard to make a hand in this game. So it checks all the way to you for a second time, and you check here. And I'm going to say I'm not a fan of the check back here. So the flop is a lot more ambiguous in the idea that the blinds pretty much always have to check to Ray. When Ray checks, that can still be for deception, and your hand isn't quite strong enough to bet on the flop. Okay, so it checks through. That's fine. On the turn, when the blinds both check again and then Ray checks, is there ever a chance that any of them have ace queen or a flush when it checks all the way to you on the turn?
Yeah, I think there's a few flushes being sneaky out there, but I suppose I could have started getting value with Queen 10 there. I just couldn't think of too many hands that are. I couldn't think of too many hands that were calling me that were worse. Like I would get called by sets and two pairs, um, some of which I block, but a lot of the time it's just like another queen that I'm chopping with. Maybe it was a mistake. Yeah, yeah. I mean, just like
I'm not ready to say that, but you know, looking back on it, of course, when you can actually see the hands, if you know the guy's got, top set and there's no hearts in anybody's hand, of course, it makes it a lot easier to say, oh, okay, yeah, bet. But I get it at the point. It's a really scary dynamic board. There's 3 hearts, there's straight flushes on the board.
yeah.
But yeah, so I'm not saying it should be a bet. It can definitely still be a check.
I think what I thought here was I could get more value from checking, and then calling a bet, calling a bluff on brick rivers, or putting in a nice bet on a brick river, and
Sure.
maybe that's what happened. It's either it's going to be one street here or one street later, like a million% of the time, you
Right.
know. So yeah, man,
River deuce of clubs. That's that brick card. Going for some value now. Bet of just 20, I believe.
might have been 15, might have been really small.
20.
Yeah, just a crying value bet, man. I mean, if anyone bets here, it's with a queen.
Sure.
Right. So I just made it really small. I suppose I could have sized up and definitely gotten a call from kings.
If you are going to bet here, I think it should either be this 20 or it should be something ridiculously large, like 150. I don't know. What are your opinions on that?
I don't remember if I put in that bet trying to induce a raise, but I just didn't think I was gonna get a call if I made it any bigger. So I just tried to make sure I made some money, and that's obviously like a leak if I'm playing really tough players. But I mean against this specific table.
Well, he certainly doesn't look too happy, and you look a little surprised.
Yeah, I'm like, yo, that pot could have been a lot bigger.
Yeah.
I think that my reaction was me knowing I missed value on the turn and
Sure.
river. Yeah.
So let's see. Last one that I have pulled out from your stream. I think this one's pretty exciting.
Oh, I love this hand.
Yeah.
This is easily my favorite hand from the stream.
Well, best for last.
It's really hard to make that much money with sevens.
Best for last. So let's see. There's some folds all the way to you in the hijack. You've got sevens. Open up the action to $20. Folds back to Maximus in the button straddle with king deuce, or
yeah,
$30. $30.
I made it 30.
Yeah,
just because of the straddle.
Sure, I agree.
I didn't want to play that much of a bigger pot out of position. I knew Maximus was going to put in a call like 1,000,000% of the time.
Sure.
So yeah, I was just like, yeah, let's do this. Let's bluff catch. Like I knew I was bluff catching when I put in the money.
No, honestly, like playing at least the card room I play at in Daytona, when there are button straddles on, sometimes like opens to like 50, 60 don't even get the job done.
Right.
Yeah. So
and that's fine. That's great. It's a little bit tougher calling down whenever the river bets, like $400 or whatever.
Of course. So, all right, call from king deuce in the button. Flop 3-10-4. Backdoor spades for both of you. He has a backdoor straight draw. Of course, your seven's still way out in front. So what are your thoughts with the 10 on the flop and the low cards that could very well connect with the button straddle call range?
I thought that when I bet here and get called, I'm gonna have to do a lot of checking on the turn and bluff catching there. And I really just wanted to keep the pot small out of position. That was really like my main goal.
Sure.
Is just like let him just keep his range as wide as possible when money goes in the pot, and just hope to God like he didn't smash a 10 or two pair.
Right.
And it worked out that time, and I think it works out enough of the time for me to just take this line like really often. There's a lot of worse turns and rivers, but
Right. So you check, and right away he starts going for it with about a pot size bet. Looks like 60 when it updates. 55. So, I mean, pretty standard call, I think.
Yeah, no, if you check here, you need to be calling like you can even be calling like over bets.
Right. I think seven of spades, pretty bad card to have.
For sure. And that's what I thought on the river and turn, but
yeah.
I said fuck it, because I had already seen this guy
blast off.
He cold called a 3-bet with 5-8 offsuit earlier in the stream.
Mm-hmm.
He bluffed. He raised with threes to like 4x the open. He made it 60 or something. I think we had all been in. It was like 4 people in for 10, and he raised to 60. And I was like, well, that didn't do anything but bluff the pot. And you're in the big blind. Like, what are you doing?
Sure.
I definitely didn't put him on threes in that hand, but and I wouldn't have minded if you had included that on the stream too, where I made a bad play, but I lost the pot.
I may have actually unintentionally just kind of skipped over it. I didn't see it while I was scrubbing through real quick, so you got lucky. I missed it.
Yeah, that was a tough one for sure. I had a lot of equity with the sixes if he had an overpair or not, but I just thought he had stronger than threes for sure.
Sure. So,
but anyway.
Yeah, 9. I think the 9's going to be a pretty good card. Blocks 9-10, which is nice. You block 7-9 of spades, so.
Yeah, this card just didn't really scare me too much.
Sure.
Whenever he continues barreling, because he's playing 80% of hands. Like,
yeah.
Period. I mean, that's like almost, well, probably like 90% or something like that. Like I just know he's calling mad wide, and I'm just ready to call down on non-spade rivers and turns. Like, no
sure.
problem.
Bet 100 and pretty quickly call 100. Looks good. River, another 10. That's a pretty good card.
Amazing card. That was the Eureka card. I was like, I'm not folding to anything here.
Right.
Like he has to overbet the pot for me to consider folding. And his demeanor, I don't know if this was an accurate read or not, but he really just didn't look very strong to me. Like his physical presence. And I knew he was capable of bluffing because I saw the threes hand earlier, and I saw that he flatted with 8-5. So I know his range is mad wide and he has a lot of bluffs.
There it goes in. That's a fantastic call, my friend.
Yeah. So I'm just thinking, like, are my sevens good a quarter of the time? Yes, they are. I call. Like that's all there was to it.
Sure.
And it happened to be right, and I was really pleased with that outcome, of course.
No, that's awesome. No, sick call. Good job.
Gracias, senor. Yeah, I didn't like having the 7 of spades, but I was like, there's too many. I have too many worse hands that I can fold here that I make it to the river with,
Yeah, absolutely. So these are just the end of the night stats. Finished with about 2,000 a stack. How much did you start with? Did you top up at all, or?
I rebought twice. I just tried to stay at 1,000.
Sure.
Whenever I lost chips, I think I ended up plus 800 on the stream. So like 60 big blinds or something.
With the stream, how does topping up work? Do you have to like tell them every time you top up? Because like when I play, I just keep a bunch of blacks in my pocket and I just kind of chuck them onto the table when I drop below. And
yeah, no, I put the cash on the table. I turn to the guy on the computer who's doing the graphics, and I say, I'm gonna rebuy a little bit, and then he updates the graphics. He updates my stack.
Okay.
So yeah, you have to tell somebody, or
right.
your stack size will be wrong on the display.
So he's like over in this corner, and you just kind of tell him what's going on.
Yeah, he's back towards the like right behind me.
Gotcha.
The guy who's doing the graphics.
Cool. Very cool.
Yeah, it was neat seeing the communication between the dealer and him. Like the dealer's whispering all the actions into his microphone so that the guy could put it on the graphics. And
Nice.
I was like, this is really sophisticated. I was just impressed with the whole thing.
Yeah. Really wide VPIPs across the entire board here. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I'm not surprised to see me and Mikey with the lowest VPIP. I think we agree that we're going
But
to
this
try
is
to
like,
make.
this is it's a little high even, but it's pretty close to where you should be, honestly.
For sure, yeah. And I overfolded at least 2 spots for sure.
Even
Like
so.
ace jack of clubs in the small blind one time against raise from an older guy. It was incorrect, but it was all right.
Even so.
I'm fine with making mistakes every now and then.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Let's see what else we got here. Winnings. Is that about right?
Yeah. Okay. So I came up more than that.
If everything,
About right.
was right. No, that's
Yeah,
awesome,
man.
man. Good job. Very good job.
Thank you.
Are they going to show another? No, that was all the stats. That was all they had. Very nice. I'm going to have to go play on that stream at some point.
Man, let me know. Let's get on the table together and make some fireworks happen. Like I would love to get in a hand with you and talk about it after. Like especially if it's a dynamic one.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
It was a godsend that me and Mikey got in that one hand because we had all those spectators. It's just a great little nugget to like a souvenir from the stream,
Yeah, no, absolutely.